Hello and welcome to My Florida Dreams Mobile Home Sales and Rentals. This is a podcast on mobile homes. We record these every month on the first and the third Thursday. They're posted in 3 to 4 days after editing, so we hope you'll tune in. You can pick them up on Apple Podcasts. You can pick it up on Buzzsprout. And today we're going to be talking to Kevin Ross of Sunshine Stone. He's a contractor who does repairs and remodeling. And that's one of the things that we have found is a lot of people are purchasing these older mobile homes and remodeling them to their own taste. The biggest fear our buyers face is not knowing exactly what to look for when purchasing a manufactured home. I've seen many buyers purchase a home and then immediately have to replace all the flooring. So Kevin, welcome today.
Good morning, Sue.
Can you tell us a little bit about this floor problem with many manufactured homes and why does this happen?
Okay. The problem with some of the manufactured homes, the earlier ones, 70s, all came with a particle board flooring. This particle board flooring has a lifespan of maybe 25 to 30 years. It may look nice when you pull the carpet up, but it will bounce, and if you kick your foot, you'll probably go through it. This is something that is it's a little bit of a cost to repair, but is nothing to be shied away from either. If you could get the mobile home at a reasonable cost, you could replace all the floors with plywood and you'll never have this issue again.
And so when you replace you recommend they do everything when they do it. And the cost on an average mobile home to do that is how much?
You're looking probably with the plywood and labor around $6,000.
Okay. And then you have your flooring on top of that.
Then you have your flooring, whatever you choose to put on top, yes.
Okay. So how can a buyer tell that the floors are particle board or that they have weak spots in them?
It's always a good idea to walk the house, feel for soft spots. My biggest thing is always to go to a closet. If there's carpet, peel the corner up, look underneath, see what kind of flooring. Or as you were saying, Sue, AC vents. You can pick a vent up and you can see the edge of the wood inside, and that will pretty much tell you what you have. Particle board is like sawdust glued together. You can tell the consistency. Plywood is, everybody knows what plywood is. And they have flake board. And the flake board usually holds very well too. But if you see particle board, then that is an issue. That is something that you're going to have to worry about, and it's going to need to be replaced.
I know we were talking about that particle board, and you were saying that once they're beyond their lifespan, it actually is dried out, and it will probably shortly.
Yes. We've done many repairs where people just want to repair a little piece, put down new flooring. A year later, they call me back and the floor is bouncing and falling. Is because the rest of the floor has fallen apart. Once particle board hits its life, it's over. It needs to be replaced.
And I try to tell people that because I've been in homes where maybe in between the kitchen living room and you're walking into the hallway where there's a lot of traffic every day. That's one of the weak spots that goes first because it gets so much traffic.
Yep. Yes.
Okay.
That's true.
So here's a question that I get all the time. Can you put laminate or tile directly onto a particle board flooring?
You can put laminate over raw floor, inner plywood, flake board. I mean, if the particle board, like I said, if it's in good shape and it's not rotten, yes, you can go over the top of it. But as far as tile work needs to be plywood floor or flake board with a tile backer board. It has to be installed correctly. Otherwise, tile will fall apart.
I know my husband and I in our first mobile home put laminate over the particle board because we thought it was very solid. But within 6 months, he went right through the floor.
Yeah.
So, to our listeners, I would highly recommend save yourself aggravation and money. Just replace that floor because these homes are getting old. Those floors are beyond their lifetime.
Yes.
Look at the year of the house and you'll understand. What are some ways that you can improperly install floors?
We've seen many times contractors come in, remove the particle board flooring, but install the plywood in the wrong direction. Plywood needs to go perpendicular with the floor joisting, and it needs bridging between the joists under the seams of the plywood seams. If you do not do your bridging, you will have soft spots. It will bounce up and down unless you're using a tongue and groove material, but anytime when you hit wall sections, everything else, it needs to have no movement at all. It needs to be secured.
And so you say put it perpendicular. How do they know if they're putting it the correct way?
Plywood has graining. You'll see it on it. And you want your grains. It's going to run long way with the plywood. It always does. So it's a 4x8 sheet. Your grains run lengthwise 8 foot. So that you want to turn that sideways and you want to go across your joists.
Okay.
So it makes a T.
All right. Also, besides floors, there are some things that might appear major, especially if it's written up on an inspection that you've had. But in fact, they're really minor and they have no real bearing on the stability or the integrity of the building. Could you give us a few examples? For me, this is a big question I always get. Are there bearing walls?
In majority of your manufactured homes, there are not bearing walls. This is two halves brought together. Once they're put together, they're just like your conventional cathedral ceiling with a header. They're put together, bolted together, and they're totally self-supportive. So you can actually take walls out and have an open concept. This is the things that most people are afraid of. They think, I have to live with this wall. This has to be here. And in theory, that is not correct. You can take walls out. You can make it just like a brand new home with a big open concept.
So the big thing right now is to have a home on the water set on your lot in reverse so that your living room, kitchen, and dining room are looking at the water and not your bedroom.
Right.
So would it be possible, if I wanted to spend the money, to actually gut this house and reverse everything?
Sure, absolutely. You have an open slate, truthfully. It's a crawl space. You could change plumbing, electrical, you could move everything. AC vents under, you can move the vent, you could do whatever you wanted to on these. Much easier to relocate rooms, power, compared to a conventional home. Conventional homes are cement slabs and walls. You can't move that stuff, bearing walls.
Okay. What can be causing a ceiling to sag?
Ceiling sags are usually a sign of roof leak. A lot of your earlier trailers, our manufactured homes, have a composite ceiling and they're only stapled. And what happens is when that thing gets waterlogged, they sag and the staples pull loose or they pull through. You can re-screw them back up and put them back up, but it's only temporary. Usually if it gets wet, they're usually done. So the correct way to do it would probably just to pull the ceiling down and put a drywall ceiling up.
Okay. What would be the cost, say you just had that in one bedroom, 10 by 12? Approximately what would that cost to do that?
For a bedroom, I guess, taking the ceiling down, putting a new one up, finishing it, and painting it would probably be $800 right around there.
Well, that's not bad
That's
at all.
not bad at all. No.
Yeah, thank
Not
you.
a bad job. It's not that hard.
Oftentimes we see a difference in the floor, one side of the house a little bit lower than the other side. Is that a serious thing?
Not serious. It could be many things. It could be that the house has sagged a little in the corner, which you can jack it up and put a couple more steel shim underneath and straighten them up. That's not an issue. There could be other problems as termites have eaten the joists where it's sagged. Truthfully, it just takes an inspection to take a look at it, and 9 times out of 10, it's never that seriously. They're very easy. You can jack them up and re-straighten them up.
Okay. I think also when we were talking earlier, you mentioned another reason why they might be that way, that it was installed incorrectly when it arrived.
Yes. When they put the two halves together, depends on what crew you got that day. They put carpet everywhere with big fat padding. So if there was a little lip of, say a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch lip, you wouldn't feel it in the carpet. It's when you take the carpet up and you see it and say, oh my goodness, the house is settled. No, the house did not move. It sits on a beam. If it fell, the whole thing would fall, not just one side.
Okay. I've been told that you cannot put glass windows in an aluminum framed lanai because it won't hold the weight. Is that true?
That is not true. If you've noticed, most of your screen-in lanais, most of them are all cement slab raised. They're all on footers. If the building hasn't sagged, putting a couple windows in is not going to make it sag. That's a common misconception, that you cannot put glass inside of an aluminum frame. Well, if you drive through the park, you will see many of them with glass in there.
Okay. Can you put standard doors and windows into a mobile home, or do you have to either make modifications or go to a mobile home place to buy your windows and doors?
You can buy from Home Depot, Lowe's, your doors for your house. Most of them are all standard size. The older ones I've noticed are 26-inch doors, which is a special order from Mobile Home Park. I found moving a stud over and putting a new jamb in, you can make your doorway bigger. You're fine with that. As far as windows, they're a certain size themselves, but again, this is exactly just like a regular house. You can open up an opening and move it and put what size window you want in, truthfully.
Okay, when you're remodeling kitchens and bathrooms, are there any things that a buyer should consider?
When it comes to kitchens and bathrooms, it's just like a conventional home. Everybody's afraid, saying, "Oh, you can't put tile in a manufactured home. You can't do granite in a manufactured home." Well, I've done many here in the park, and I'm going to tell you, they're still together, that they haven't fallen apart. They hold the weight just fine. That was a big misconception of weight. You can't put weight on a manufactured home. That's not true. They're built just like a regular house with floor joists. They're not going to fall down. You can put new cabinets, granite, whatever you like.
So, Kevin, tell me, if someone wanted to ask you a question or hire you, what section of Florida or what area of Florida do you cover, and how can they get a hold of you?
Okay. I'd like to stay I'm on the West Coast here in the park. We go anywhere from Tampa down to Fort Myers, Naples. And I am readily available through Pete and Sue. And just a phone call to them, they can put you in touch with me.
All right. So let's just kind of cover what we talked about today. When you're looking for a home, make sure that you take the time to do your homework, do your due diligence, make sure you understand what you're purchasing, what it's going to cost you to do the remodeling that you want to do. Ask questions, go to YouTube, but just completely get yourself educated. I know I copied down a YouTube channel on how to do the floors, so that when I hired someone to do the floors, if they didn't tell me how they were going to do it, didn't match up with the recommended way by the manufacturer, then I didn't hire them. So I just think everyone needs to do their homework. And if you want to reach Kevin, you know you can always contact me, Sue Shields, My Florida Dreams, 941-981-3424. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Sue.
And thanks to our listeners. You have a wonderful day.